Welcome back to my channel, and I hope y'all are doing amazingly well out there. I'm in my sleeper berth tonight with one of my headsets on, and I want to talk with y'all about being prepared. This weekend, I had an unfortunate situation. Someone stole my wallet at a truck stop. And, well, I do hope for swift justice to the person who decided to take it and keep it instead of turning it in. Whether that be God giving them that new cold bug or something else to make them really think about their actions. I want to talk with y'all today about what I ended up having to make sure I had to ensure that I could get through any crisis. Because bad things do happen to good people sometimes. And in the world of trucking, you're particularly vulnerable. And for you rookie drivers out there, you ain't seen nothing yet. So on this episode of Truckin It, let's talk about the old Boy Scout motto. Stay tuned. So at 11:55 p.m. Wednesday night, I was getting back into my truck, and my wallet slipped out of my pocket. Well, I thought nothing of it, didn't even realize it happened. It happened on pump number 22 at the Flying J at 11:55 p.m. in Knoxville, Tennessee, at exit 369 off Watt Road. And I got to the Flying J, the pilot location in Crossville, checked my pocket, realized it was missing, turned back around, went back to that Flying J, and checked the ramp, the fuel island, and everything around there, and I couldn't find it worth the life of me. Then I looked up. I seen somebody carrying it in their hand and putting it into the sleeper berth of their truck instead of turning it into the store. Dead serious. And that was about 2 hours after I had dropped it. Now, I do hope for safe return of the wallet, and I've already filed a police report and done some other actions. But this is to stress the importance of doing stuff like carrying photocopies of your documents in your truck. If this happens to you, and it happens more often than not, having procedures in place is the difference between being scared and being prepared. I mean, even I panicked a little bit once I discovered my wallet was missing. And this can happen to you as well. Now, it is important to keep your important documents at home, if at all possible, or at least keep copies of them there. Since, of course, you still need your license and stuff on the road. But you need to make sure that whatever you do, that you're ready for the situation where someone decides they need more butt coin than you. Hashtag SannyCoin as well. This is a world of crisis. Supplies are running scarce, and people are trying to get money in whatever way they can. That includes things like applying for credit, stealing bank accounts, and worse. Needless to say, I have a plan of action for that, and I'm in the process of going through all the steps and going through all the paperwork and such. And having copies is the big difference between me and you. You probably don't have copies of your documents or a backup plan, either one. And as I learned when I was a kid in Cub Scouts, there's a difference between being scared and being prepared. I'd encourage you to talk with somebody about that, because being scared is one thing that you cannot afford to do when you're trucking. There's an acceptable level of nervousness, and then there's downright fear. And nervousness is common in all drivers. Downright fear should be reserved for those times of last resort, when you didn't have the plan for the specific situation. Yesterday, in a separate issue, I had problems with, let's just say, high wind. And I was getting nervous. I was struggling to control the truck because the crosswind had exceeded 50 miles per hour out in Virginia on Interstate 81. So I did what I knew. I got off the highway, took a back road, which did cost me some time, and by the time I was done, I was shaking like an earthquake. And I think part of that is my hypersensitivity to wind noise, which I have not really discussed much of, but my autism sometimes causes me to hear stuff a little sooner than some of the other drivers out there. I think that's partly because some drivers are partially deaf, and in other cases, some drivers just, well, they just don't have as sensitive a brain as I do. In other words, I can feel things like tires slipping in the seat of my pants long before someone else does. And it makes me quite nervous when that happens. And, of course, growing up in a state with a lot of winter conditions anyway, I learned a hard lesson there, too. I think part of it is the trauma of seeing a truck skid off the road and roll over in both windy conditions and on snow and ice. And I hear a lot of super truckers like to talk about that kind of stuff. Of where they'll white knuckle like doing 70 right past a guy who's rolled over. I don't take that kind of risk. So therefore, I ask, I beg, and I'm sorry for my hand touching my face during this pandemic, but yes, I have sanitized it. And I continue to beg that you learn as much as you can when you're out here on the road. I mean, it's cheaper to get a copier and make copies of those documents now than it is to try and have to restore your identity later when you lose the wallet without anything in hand like your driver's license, social security numbers, and debit and credit cards. There's a thought. I'd also encourage you to do identity theft monitoring. And I don't care which vendor you go with. Leave that up to guys like Dave Ramsey and some of the others to talk about that kind of stuff. But I care more that you have it. And I care that you have copies of your documents too. Because if you don't, you're totally going to be screwed when it comes to both continuing to drive and in terms of getting the assistance you need when you get home. So, let's make sure to have backups to your backups. Let's make sure to have everything you need ready to go before you get in that truck. And let's make sure that you stay safe out there. From the sleeper berth, this is Zach Bell. Until next time, let's make your best trip your next trip. Keep learning, keep thinking, and keep on trucking. Bye for now.